Church History. Light Amid the Darkness as Seen in the Life of Luther. London, G. Morrish, 20, Paternoster Square, before 1915. Republished by Irving Risch, host of Down to Earth but Heavenly Minded podcast. Chapter 24. Protestantism, 15. Matters had greatly altered since the sack of Rome. The Pope and Emperor were again great friends. A treaty of peace had been concluded on June 29, 1528, at Barcelona, based on the destruction of the heresy of Luther. The Emperor wrote a threatening letter to the Elector John, and everywhere the friends of the Pope proudly lifted up their heads. Now Luther and his heresy were certainly going to be crushed. Melanchthon accompanied the Elector to the Diet, but they were met with frowns everywhere. The arrangement of 1526 was declared to be annulled by the Emperor, and energetic measures were called for. The majority of the Diet tried to take a middle course, namely, that everything should remain as it was, but there must be no efforts made to spread the doctrines of the Reformation. The friends of the gospel met together for consultation. How could they hide the light committed to them? Had not God said, "Go into all the world, and preach the gospel to every creature"? Must they not obey God rather than man? They decided to reject the proposition at all cost. But the friends of the Pope were equally resolute. They called before the Diet the representatives of the free cities, see note, and threatened them. These disposed of. Ferdinand declared he would hear no more, the proposition must be made into a decree, and the friends of the Reformation must submit. The Elector John and those agreeing with him retired for consultation. But Ferdinand said that he had received his orders from the Emperor. "I have executed it," said he, "all is over," and he left the Diet. They sent a message entreating him to return, but he refused. Note. Called imperial free cities because they were not under the control of any of the German princes. End of note. The reformers drew up a protest, from whence arose the name of Protestants, and presented it to the Diet. It spoke moderately, but firmly. They could not deny the Lord Jesus Christ or reject his holy word. This word is the only truth. The Lord's Supper was becomingly administered, in their states, and they could not enforce any edict against those who did this. They protested against any decree contrary to God or his holy word. The protest was dated April 19, 1529. As soon as the protest was delivered, the Elector and his friends declared that on the morrow they would leave Speyer, though they did not leave so soon. But before leaving, a deputation waited on Ferdinand, and presented the protest to him. He at first received it, but then desired to return it. The deputation declined, and Ferdinand insisted. At length, out of courtesy, the deputation received the protest from his hands, but boldly laying it on a table they left the room. The Diet met again and ratified the edict as it had been previously proposed, irrespective of the protest. "All that remains for us to do," said Melanchthon, "is to call upon the Son of God," and he hastened back to Wittenberg much dejected. Luther had not been at Speyer, and had not drawn up the protest, and when he read it he did not think there was much force in it. But Protestants have often looked back to that protest with a sort of veneration. From that time to this the mass of those professing to be Christians have been divided into Catholics and Protestants. The Greek Church, which took no part in the protest, is generally classed with the Catholics, though they are not Roman Catholics, nor do they acknowledge the Pope. The friends of Rome were now determined to root out the heresy of Protestantism. The Pope loudly called for it, and the Emperor determined to carry it out. Philip of Hesse again thought of inviting all the Protestant princes into a league for self-defense. To be included in this league he named some of the Swiss. To this union Luther objected. We must now look at the reason why.